Welcome to the July 2026 horoscope forecast. It's essential to note that these insights are grounded in Vedic Astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference from the tropical zodiac. July 2026 opens as a month of adjustment, consolidation, and meaningful progress. The month is shaped by the contrast between Saturn in Pisces and Exalted Jupiter in Cancer. Saturn brings responsibility, realism, and discipline, while Jupiter offers protection, wisdom, and growth. Together, these two major influences create a period where people may feel challenged by circumstances but supported by opportunities for long-term improvement. This is not a month for shortcuts or impulsive decisions. Instead, it favors patience, maturity, and building strong foundations for the future. Saturn continues its transit through Pisces throughout the month, placing emphasis on emotional maturity, spiritual growth, and personal responsibility. Pisces is naturally imaginative and intuitive, but Saturn here demands practical action rather than wishful thinking. Its aspects on Taurus, Virgo, and Sagittarius bring attention to finances, work routines, health, education, and belief systems. Delays may occur in some areas, but Saturn's purpose is to create stability and lasting results. On July 27th, Saturn turns retrograde, shifting attention inward. The final days of the month may encourage reflection on unfinished responsibilities, long-term goals, and personal commitments. While external progress may seem slower, this retrograde period helps strengthen what has already been built. Jupiter remains exalted in Cancer, one of its most powerful positions. This placement enhances wisdom, emotional intelligence, family support, education, creativity, and spiritual understanding. From Cancer, Jupiter aspects Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces, bringing healing, guidance, and growth to these areas. Most importantly, Jupiter aspects Pisces, where Saturn is currently transiting. This creates an important balance between expansion and caution. While Saturn encourages realism, Jupiter prevents excessive pessimism and helps maintain faith in the future. Throughout July, Jupiter supports thoughtful decision-making, learning, teaching, and personal development. Rahu continues its transit through Aquarius while Ketu remains in Leo. Rahu in Aquarius increases interest in technology, innovation, social networks, and collective movements. People may feel drawn toward new ideas, unconventional approaches, and future-oriented thinking. Rahu can also create restlessness and confusion when expectations become unrealistic. Ketu in Leo reduces attachment to recognition, status, and personal validation. Together, this axis encourages a shift away from ego-driven goals and toward broader social, intellectual, or humanitarian concerns. Mars continues its transit through Taurus, bringing determination and persistence. Taurus is practical, stable, and connected to material security, while Mars adds energy and ambition. This combination can motivate people to focus on finances, career goals, property matters, and long-term investments. It can also increase stubbornness and resistance to change. The best use of Mars in Taurus is disciplined effort and consistent action rather than forceful confrontation. Progress comes through patience and endurance rather than haste. The month begins with Venus in Cancer alongside exalted Jupiter and retrograde Mercury. This creates a nurturing and emotionally reflective atmosphere. Family matters, relationships, home life, and emotional healing receive attention. Mercury retrograde encourages people to revisit past conversations, unresolved feelings, and important decisions before moving forward. On July 4th, Venus enters Leo and joins Ketu, creating a noticeable shift in relationship dynamics. This combination can reduce interest in superficial connections and encourage greater authenticity in love, creativity, and personal expression. People may become more selective about where they invest their emotional energy. Mercury plays a major role throughout July. On July 7th, retrograde Mercury moves back into Gemini, the sign it rules, where the Sun is already transiting. This strengthens communication, learning, writing, media activities, and intellectual pursuits, but retrograde motion can create delays, misunderstandings, and the need for revision. Many plans may require adjustments before they are finalized. Mercury turns direct on July 24th, bringing greater clarity and momentum. Projects, negotiations, travel plans, and important conversations that experience delays earlier in the month are likely to move forward more smoothly during the final week of July. The Sun remains in Gemini until July 16th, highlighting communication, education, networking, and the exchange of ideas. This period encourages curiosity, adaptability, and learning. On July 16th, the Sun enters Cancer and joins Exalted Jupiter, creating one of the month's most supportive influences. This conjunction strengthens wisdom, confidence, family relationships, leadership, and emotional stability. It favors decisions made from maturity and principle rather than pride or impulse. The second half of July feels more nurturing, protective, and focused on long-term well-being. The lunar cycle adds important turning points to the month. The new moon on July 14th in Gemini marks the beginning of a fresh cycle related to communication, learning, writing, planning, and intellectual pursuits. Because Mercury remains retrograde at this time, many new beginnings may involve revisiting or refining existing ideas before launching them fully. The full moon on July 29th in Capricorn brings culmination and results. Capricorn represents structure, responsibility, achievement, and long-term planning. This full moon may reveal the outcome of efforts made over recent months, particularly in career, finances, and personal goals. It encourages practical decisions and realistic assessments of progress. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it's crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign provides insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you'll emotionally respond to these changes. Additionally, consider the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current dasha period. These specific outcomes will depend on individual dasha periods and how these transits interact with your natal planetary placements. If you are currently in Jupiter's Mahadasha period, its transit influence will be particularly prominent. Remember, the effects of these transits vary for each person. Let's explore how they may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses they transit. For Aries, July 2026 delivers a month of quiet preparation followed by a visible career breakthrough. Jupiter is exalted in your 4th house for the entire month, grounding your domestic life in a strong, stable energy and sending its powerful gaze directly to your 10th house of career. Saturn, as your 10th and 11th house lord, is placed in the 12th in a subdued but still active position. Multiple planetary shifts keep the month in motion, Venus and Ketu joining forces in your 5th house from July 4th, Mercury retrograde slipping back into your 3rd house on July 7th, and the Sun entering your 4th to join Jupiter from July 16th. The full moon on July 29th in your 10th house brings professional matters to a decisive head. This is a month to build foundations quietly and let the efforts speak loudly by month end. Saturn, as your 10th lord, is stationed in the 12th for the entire month. This often points to career effort happening behind closed doors, research work, behind-the-scenes projects, or preparations that are not yet publicly visible. The effort is real, but recognition follows later. What compensates strongly is Jupiter in exaltation aspecting your 10th house of career directly from the 4th. This transit is particularly powerful for professions in education, real estate, property management, counseling, or home-based business. Between July 7th and 16th, the Sun and Mercury are aligned in your 3rd house, an excellent window for writing, presentations, pitches, and business negotiations. After July 16th, the Sun moves into your 4th house joining Jupiter, adding warmth and authority to home-linked professional pursuits. Saturn's retrograde on July 27th may slow official formalities or approvals, but the full moon in your 10th house on July 29th is a decisive career moment. Recognition, evaluation, or a key professional outcome arrives right at that point. For those seeking promotions or new opportunities, the final week of July is the most significant stretch of the month. Mars, your sign lord, is transiting your 2nd house of income for all of July. This gives strong income-driving energy but also a tendency toward impulsive spending or confrontational discussions over money. Saturn aspects your 2nd house from the 12th, adding financial pressure. Payments may be delayed, and expenses related to foreign matters or privacy can rise. Rahu in your 11th house in Aquarius, its own sign, is the most promising financial indicator of the month. Gains through networks, referrals, technology, and unconventional income streams are well supported. Activate your professional contacts actively this month, and the effort pays off. Ketu in the 5th house, along with Venus joining it from July 4th, strongly advises against stock market speculation and high-risk investments. Jupiter's aspect on your 8th house offers protection for joint finances and any income through shared assets or inheritance, provided you follow proper processes. Ketu continues to occupy your 5th house throughout July, bringing a quieter, more introspective quality to your romantic life. When Venus moves into the 5th on July 4th to join Ketu, relationships take on a spiritual or karmic dimension rather than a purely romantic one. Couples may find this phase emotionally low-key, not necessarily troubled, but simply less connected on a surface level. Jupiter's aspect on your 8th house is quietly beneficial, supporting depth, intimacy, and meaningful conversations about commitment in existing partnerships. The new moon on July 14th in your 3rd house is a good window for clear verbal communication about feelings, especially if something has been left unsaid. For single Aries, people you meet under this Venus-Ketu influence may feel destined or spiritually significant, but decisions about commitment are better made in August when the energy is clearer. Your home and family life receive the most direct blessings this month. Jupiter exalted in the 4th house carries the month's most consistent positive energy into your domestic sphere. If any parent-related matters have been unresolved, particularly with your mother, this is a month where conversations go better than expected and emotional warmth is naturally available. The early part of July, while Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury are together in the 4th, is particularly good for home improvements, property discussions, or learning activities organized at home. After July 16th, the Sun enters the 4th to join Jupiter, amplifying this domestic positivity further and potentially marking a family occasion or significant home decision. In the social sphere, Rahu in your 11th house keeps your network active and introduces you to influential people who can add long-term value. On the family financial side, avoid disputes over money given Mars's strong presence in the 2nd house. Saturn in the 12th house is the primary health concern this month. The 12th represents sleep, rest, and recovery. Saturn here can disturb sleep patterns or generate chronic low-level fatigue that builds gradually. After July 27th, when Saturn turns retrograde, this fatigue risk increases. Mars in the 2nd house may translate into stress-driven eating habits, or a reluctance to slow down even when the body needs rest. Jupiter aspecting the 8th house is a protective influence, particularly for chronic or hidden conditions. Saturn's aspect on the 6th house is actually useful for health discipline. Consistent, structured exercise and dietary choices yield real benefits this month. Avoid overworking, and if fatigue sets in after July 27th, treat it as a signal to rest rather than push harder. Overall, July 2026 for Aries is fundamentally a month of building foundations while a career payoff waits at the end. Jupiter's exaltation in your 4th house is the month's anchor. Strong family life, domestic stability, and quietly favorable career conditions define the period. Financial discipline is needed amid rising ambitions, but your network delivers real income support. Relationships carry a spiritual, inward tone. Your final week delivers the most visible professional result of the month. Use the first 3 weeks to prepare carefully, because the full moon on July 29th rewards those who have done the groundwork. For Taurus, July 2026 is a month of ambition and action. Rahu in your 10th house in Aquarius, its own sign, is a powerful time for career acceleration, unconventional opportunities, and social influence that expands your professional reach significantly. Jupiter, exalted in your 3rd house, adds communication skill, courage, and strong relationships with siblings and colleagues to your month. Mars moves through your 1st house for the entire month, giving you elevated physical energy and a drive to push your personal agenda. The planetary shifts through the month, Venus joining Ketu in your 4th house on July 4th, Mercury retrograde in the 2nd house from July 7th, and the Sun joining exalted Jupiter in your 3rd house from July 16th, continue to shape different areas of life in distinct waves. The full moon on July 29th in your 9th house brings a culminating moment in luck, travel, or higher learning. Rahu in your 10th house in Aquarius is a dominant career force throughout July. This placement favors ambitious career moves, unconventional paths to success, and the ability to attract influential people into your professional life. Those in technology, research, social media, or innovation-driven fields are particularly well-positioned. Jupiter, exalted in your 3rd house, strengthens your communication skills and adds authority to your written and spoken output, excellent for those whose careers depend on persuasion, negotiation, or teaching. Jupiter's aspect on the 9th house supports professional work connected to travel, higher education, or overseas clients. Between July 7th and 16th, Mercury Retrograde in your second house adds caution around financial negotiations. Review contracts carefully before signing anything significant. After July 16th, the Sun moves into your third house to join Jupiter, boosting your professional communication and creating favorable conditions for launching new presentations or campaigns. Saturn's aspect on your first house throughout the month is a reminder that disciplined, sustained effort is what converts ambition into lasting results. The financial picture in July has both strong positives and genuine cautions. The Sun in your second house until July 16th places income in the spotlight and supports earnings from visible, authoritative work. Mercury, though retrograde, transits the second house from July 7th. This is a warning to review financial documents, delay major financial commitments, and double-check ongoing transactions before they finalize. The new moon on July 14th in your second house is a useful reset point, a good moment to set fresh income intentions or realign spending habits. Jupiter's aspect on the 11th house, where Saturn sits, suggests gains are possible but require patience and persistence to materialize. Saturn's aspect on the 5th house from the 11th advises against speculative investments or any financial gamble in July. Joint finances connected to partnerships or inheritance, sitting under Saturn's aspect in the 8th house, also need careful management and clear communication. Jupiter exalted in your third house casts its direct aspect onto your 7th house of partnerships throughout the month, one of the clearest positive signals for married Taurus individuals. Communication in relationships improves, and you are likely to feel more aligned with your partner, especially around shared values and future plans. The full moon in your 9th house on July 29th has a philosophical and expansive quality that can elevate romantic conversations to something meaningful and future-oriented. Venus moves into your 4th house on July 4th to join Ketu, which introduces an element of emotional withdrawal or isolation within the home environment. For some, this means a partner is physically or emotionally distant during this phase. The 5th house receives Saturn's aspect, suggesting romance requires effort and that new romantic connections need time to develop naturally rather than being rushed. Ketu in your 4th house throughout July creates a somewhat detached atmosphere at home. When Venus joins Ketu in the 4th from July 4th, the home feels spiritually calm but not necessarily emotionally warm. Mother-related matters may require patience, and home maintenance issues could come up without easy resolution. The saving grace is Jupiter exalted in the 3rd house, which is excellent for sibling relations, neighbors, and close friends. Conversations flow freely, misunderstandings resolve more easily, and there may be a positive development involving a brother or sister in July. After July 16th, the Sun joins Jupiter in the 3rd house, strengthening these sibling and close friend connections further. Jupiter, your 11th lord, is exalted in the 3rd house and casts its aspect directly onto your 11th house of gains and friendships. Your social network is actively supported and rewarding this month. Mars in your 1st house adds personal confidence and visible energy that naturally draws like-minded people toward you. Mars in your 1st house for the entire month gives you abundant physical energy, but it also brings risks from overexertion, heat-related issues, inflammation, and a tendency to ignore physical limits. July is not a month to neglect rest in favor of constant activity. Saturn aspects your 1st house from the 11th, adding a layer of physical restriction. Recovery from illness may take longer, and chronic conditions can feel more prominent after July 27th when Saturn turns retrograde. The 8th house receives Saturn's aspect, suggesting that hidden or undiagnosed health issues may need attention. Jupiter in your 3rd house is helpful for lung, chest, and arm health. Prioritize cooling foods, adequate water intake, and avoid aggravating situations that raise stress or blood pressure during the Mars-driven phase of July. Overall, July 2026 gives Taurus a month driven by strong personal energy, career ambition, and communication excellence. Rahu in the 10th and Jupiter exalted in the 3rd are the two standout planetary forces this month. Finances need care during the retrograde period, particularly around financial documents and contracts. Relationships benefit from Jupiter's steady aspect on the 7th house. Home life is spiritually quiet but needs emotional attention. Your health holds up well with basic care and adequate rest. The full moon at month end in your 9th house opens a door to luck, travel, or higher learning that makes the discipline of July entirely worthwhile. For Gemini, July 2026 is a month of financial strength and career responsibility. Jupiter is exalted in your 2nd house of wealth and speech, making this one of the most financially powerful months of the year for you. Saturn, your 8th and 9th lord, is placed in your 10th house, demanding disciplined career effort and creating a structured, serious tone at work. Mercury, your 1st and 4th lord, begins the month retrograde in your 2nd house, then slips back into your 1st house on July 7th before going direct on July 24th. These 3 weeks require patient review rather than aggressive new starts. The Sun in your 1st house until July 16th gives you strong personal visibility, and after the 16th, the Sun joins Exalted Jupiter in your 2nd house for a financially bright second half. The full moon on July 29th in your 8th house calls for careful management of shared finances and hidden matters. Saturn in your 10th house throughout July is the defining career influence this month. As your 8th and 9th lord in the 10th, Saturn demands slow, structured, disciplined effort in your professional sphere. Quick wins are unlikely, but meaningful progress through consistent work is absolutely available. Saturn's aspect on your 7th house of partnerships may put some pressure on business collaborations. Be patient with partners who seem delayed or difficult. Jupiter, exalted in your 2nd house and aspecting the 10th, reinforces career work connected to finance, teaching, speaking, or writing. Between July 7th and 16th, the Sun and Mercury are together in your 1st house, a powerful personal identity phase that increases your professional visibility and assertiveness considerably. After July 16th, the Sun moves into the 2nd to join Jupiter, which is excellent for earning recognition through knowledge-based or financial career work. Saturn turns retrograde on July 27th, possibly stalling approvals or slowing official processes toward month end. Plan your timelines accordingly. Jupiter exalted in your 2nd house is the headline financial event of July for Gemini. The 2nd house represents accumulated wealth, income, and assets. With Jupiter at its most powerful in Cancer here, this is one of the strongest financial periods Gemini experiences in all of 2026. Until July 4th, Venus adds to Jupiter in the 2nd house, creating a Sarasvati Yoga configuration that is exceptional for income through knowledge, skillful work, and financial management. After July 4th, Jupiter continues to strengthen the 2nd house independently. The Sun joins Jupiter in the 2nd from July 16th, amplifying financial authority and income visibility further. Mercury retrograde between July 7th and 24th urges caution with contracts, financial documents, and new investments. Review carefully rather than committing hastily. Jupiter's aspect on the 8th house is protective for joint finances, insurance, and shared assets. Mars in your 12th house keeps expenses elevated throughout the month. Track your outflows carefully. Jupiter exalted in the 2nd house casts its gaze on the 8th house of intimate transformation, a quietly favorable signal for depth in existing relationships. The full moon on July 29th in your 8th house intensifies emotional and intimate themes toward month end, and for couples, this may surface important conversations about shared finances, commitments, or a deeper layer of the relationship that has been waiting to be addressed. Saturn's aspect on your 7th house from the 10th can make a partner seem preoccupied with work or responsibilities in July. Give your partner space rather than interpreting their distance as disinterest. Venus moves into your 3rd house on July 4th to join Ketu, which can bring a spiritually or intellectually oriented energy to romantic communication. Short trips with a partner or creative projects shared between couples are especially meaningful during this Venus phase. For single Gemini, Mercury retrograde in the 1st house asks for genuine self-reflection before pursuing new romantic connections. The family financial picture is genuinely strong. In July, led by Jupiter in your 2nd house of family resources and speech, family discussions around money and assets move in a productive direction. Saturn's aspect on your 4th house from the 10th signals some responsibilities at home, property maintenance, a parent's health matter, or home-related work demanding attention. Ketu in your 3rd house can make sibling relations feel somewhat distant or emotionally misaligned during the 1st half of July. When Venus joins Ketu in the 3rd from July 4th, sibling interactions may carry an element of emotional complexity or unresolved feelings. Approach these with patience rather than forcing resolution. The new moon on July 14th in your 1st house is a personal new beginning, a strong moment for setting your own direction for the 2nd half of 2026. Mars in the 12th house can deplete social energy, making you less interested in large group events. Mercury, your sign lord, is retrograde for most of July. This alone introduces a degree of physical uncertainty, particularly around nervous system sensitivity, skin issues, and general vitality. Between July 7th and 24th, Mercury retrograde transits your 1st house, where physical vitality and the body are most directly represented. Rest and stress management are essential during this period. Jupiter aspecting both your 6th and 8th houses from the 2nd is a strong protective influence. Overcoming day-to-day health issues and protecting against more serious conditions are both well supported by this exalted Jupiter. Mars in your 12th house can cause sleep disruption, fatigue, or a sense of physical restlessness. Saturn in the 10th adds work-related stress to the health equation. Consistent sleep, reduced screen time in the evenings, and stress-releasing activities are the health priorities for Gemini in July. Overall, July 2026 is financially the strongest month of the year for Gemini. Jupiter exalted in the 2nd house is a gift that should be used consciously, through skill, knowledge, and careful financial management. Career demands serious effort under Saturn in the 10th, but the results earned are durable and respected. Relationships need patience and depth rather than surface-level excitement. Home life carries real responsibilities. Health requires genuine rest and nervous system support. This month's effort in career and finances lays a foundation that will continue to pay dividends well into the second half of 2026. For Cancer, July 2026 is one of the most personally powerful months of the year. Jupiter is exalted in your 1st house, your own sign, for the entire month. This is an exceptionally significant planetary event that brings personal growth, expanded wisdom, good health, and a natural magnetism that attracts positive circumstances into your life. Venus and Mercury were also with Jupiter in your 1st house at the very start of the month, and although Mercury is retrograde and Venus shifts into your 2nd house from July 4th, Jupiter continues to dominate and protect your personal sphere. When the Sun enters your 1st house on July 16th to join Jupiter, your energy, confidence, and visibility receive a further boost. The full moon on July 29th in your 7th house brings partnership matters, both personal and professional, to an important moment of clarity and culmination. Mars, your 5th and 10th lord, is in your 11th house of gains for the entire month. This is one of the most favorable career placements available. The 10th lord in the 11th indicates that your professional work directly generates income, recognition, and social connections. Mars in Taurus in the 11th house keeps your ambitions practical and persistent. Jupiter exalted in your 1st house casts its direct aspect onto your 7th house, which for Cancer governs partnerships and business collaborations. Expect favorable developments in joint ventures and professional alliances. When the Sun enters your 1st house on July 16th to join Jupiter, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction elevates your professional authority, particularly in knowledge-intensive, advisory, or leadership roles. Saturn aspects your 3rd house from the 9th, adding discipline to your communication output. Structured writing and careful correspondence are more effective than hasty messaging this month. Saturn turns retrograde on July 27th, which may create slight delays in official recognition or paperwork, but the overall career trajectory for July is clearly upward. Rahu in your 8th house in Aquarius introduces an element of unpredictability in shared finances, insurance, or inheritance matters. The 8th house with Rahu can bring sudden financial events, both unexpected gains and sudden expenses from hidden sources. Plan for contingencies and maintain clear records of financial dealings with others. Ketu in your 2nd house throughout July creates a somewhat detached relationship with personal income and savings. You may feel less motivated by wealth accumulation and more drawn to meaningful experiences this month. Mars in the 11th house is a strong income generator, and your professional efforts translate directly into financial gains. Jupiter aspecting your 5th house is favorable for smart, well-researched investments. The full moon in your 7th house on July 29th may trigger a financial conversation with your partner or a business associate. Approach it with facts, patience, and a willingness to find common ground. The full moon on July 29th in your 7th house is the romantic and partnership highlight of the month for Cancer. It crystallizes whatever has been developing in your close relationships during July, and for many Cancer individuals, this is a moment of mutual recognition, deeper commitment, or an important joint decision. Jupiter exalted in your 1st house casting its aspect on the 7th is a very favorable influence for marital harmony. Your own warmth, wisdom, and generosity naturally improve your closest relationships. Venus in your 1st house until July 4th adds extra charm and personal magnetism in the very early part of the month. When Venus moves into your 2nd house on July 4th to join Ketu, the energy around love shifts toward past life karma, financial matters and relationships, and an undercurrent of longing or nostalgia. For unmarried Cancer individuals, a meaningful connection formed in July carries real long-term potential, particularly in the first week under the Venus-Jupiter influence. Jupiter in your first house aspecting the fifth house is excellent for children, good news, growth, creativity, or academic achievements connected to children may emerge this month. If you have been hoping for news about pregnancy or children, this Jupiter influence is quietly supportive. The fourth house, representing home and mother, has no major planet transiting it directly this month. However, Venus as your fourth lord begins July in your first house alongside Jupiter, giving your domestic life a warm and harmonious quality in the first days of July. When Venus moves into your second house on July 4th, attention around home affairs naturally shifts toward family, financial priorities, and values. Mars in your 11th house keeps your social network dynamic and productive. Friends in powerful or active positions come through for you in July. Mercury retrograde in the 12th house from July 7th suggests that some conversations may go unresolved or communications get lost. Follow up on important messages before assuming they were received. Jupiter exalted in your first house is the single most powerful health protector any transit can offer. Your immune system, vitality, and overall physical resilience are at a genuine high this month. Even if you face minor illness or stress, recovery comes quickly under this Jupiter influence. Saturn in your 9th house aspects your 3rd house. There may be minor tension or discomfort in the arms, shoulders, or neck area, particularly if you work at a desk for long hours. Rahu in the 8th house is the one health caution. It can introduce sudden or unusual physical symptoms that seem hard to explain. Avoid ignoring persistent signs even when Jupiter is protective. The Sun joining Jupiter in the 1st house from July 16th brings additional vitality and warmth to your physical constitution. Overall, this is genuinely one of the healthiest months of the year for Cancer. Overall, July 2026 is a standout month for Cancer. Exalted Jupiter in your 1st house is the defining planetary reality, and it touches almost every major area of life with its beneficial gaze. Health, career, partnerships, and children all receive direct support. Financially, caution is needed around the 8th house Rahu influence. The full moon on July 29th is the month's defining relationship moment. This is a month to act on your ambitions with confidence, nurture your relationships with genuine presence, and trust that the planetary foundation beneath you in July is one of the strongest you will experience in years. For Leo, July 2026 presents with an impactful and productive career story built around Mars in your 10th house, alongside a deeply spiritual and transformative personal undercurrent shaped by Ketu in your 1st house and Jupiter in your 12th. Mars transits Taurus in your 10th house throughout the month, a strong, action-driven placement for career and authority that keeps your professional life intensely active. Rahu in your 7th house in Aquarius brings an element of unusual or influential partnerships into your life. The early part of the month has Venus with Jupiter in your 12th house, connecting finance and spirituality with foreign or isolated matters. From July 4th, Venus joins Ketu in your 1st house, shifting your personal energy towards spiritual introspection and an unusual kind of personal magnetism. The full moon on July 29th in your 6th house focuses attention on health, competition, and daily service matters. Mars in your 10th house is the career engine of July for Leo. As your 4th and 9th lord, Mars in the 10th creates a powerful connection between your luck, property interests, and professional achievement. You are energized, decisive, and capable of taking meaningful career actions throughout the month. Initiatives launched between July 1st and July 14th carry particular momentum. Saturn in your 8th house aspects your 10th house from below, adding a testing quality. Your resilience and ability to handle pressure will be assessed at work, and your response to challenges determines how well the career picture unfolds. Venus in your 12th house at the start of July connects your career with foreign clients, online work, or services offered at a distance. After July 4th, when Venus moves into your 1st house, personal presentation and charm enhance your professional appeal significantly. From July 16th, the Sun enters your 12th house to join Jupiter, a quieter period for career visibility, but excellent for planning, research, and behind-the-scenes professional strategy that positions you well for August. Saturn in your 8th house throughout July creates a measured and somewhat restricted financial environment. The 8th governs joint finances, inheritances, and shared resources, and Saturn here slows down or delays access to these areas. Jupiter in your 12th house at the start of the month suggests expenses in isolated or foreign-connected domains, though Jupiter's natural optimism prevents these from becoming problematic. The new moon on July 14th in your 11th house is a genuinely positive financial signal. A fresh income opportunity, or a new source of gains becomes available around this time. After July 16th, the Sun joins Jupiter in the 12th, which may slightly increase foreign or digital expenditure but also supports income from overseas or online channels. Mars in the 10th is the primary income driver. Your professional output directly funds your financial position in July. Rahu in the 7th suggests that a partner or business associate may be involved in an unusual financial transaction that needs careful documentation. Rahu in your 7th house throughout July makes partnerships unpredictable, intense, and sometimes magnetically compelling. You may find yourself drawn to individuals who feel different from your usual type, or your existing partner may surprise you with unexpected perspectives or behavior. Venus joins Ketu in your 1st house from July 4th, which adds a spiritually inclined but sometimes emotionally detached quality to your personal magnetism. You may be deeply attractive to others this month while simultaneously feeling less interested in conventional romantic expressions. The full moon on July 29th in your 6th house may surface a health-related discussion in a partnership, or bring a competitive undercurrent in a key relationship to a head. The Sun in your 11th house through July 16th, with Mercury joining from July 7th, creates an active social window. Friendly connections flow easily, and romantic beginnings in social settings are possible during this first half of July. For married Leo individuals, Saturn in the 8th house suggests that intimacy requires deliberate investment and patience. Jupiter in your 12th house throughout July gives a spiritually expansive quality to your inner world, but it is not the strongest placement for direct family engagement. There is a tendency to withdraw into private or personal spaces this month rather than actively engaging with family events. Ketu in your 1st house can make you feel existentially distant from social obligations. This is more of an introspective phase than an outwardly social one. Saturn's aspect on your 5th house from the 8th brings some seriousness to matters connected to children or creative expression. A child's education or a major creative project may need careful attention this month. The Sun in your 11th house through July 16th, joined by Mercury from July 7th, makes this the most socially active stretch of the month. Friendships are engaged, mutually supportive, and energized during this window. Mars in the 10th keeps you productively busy, which may reduce available time for family gatherings during the bulk of July. Ketu in your 1st house is a health caution worth noting. Ketu's presence in the body house can create some physical unpredictability, unusual symptoms, Veda-related imbalances, or a sense of disconnection from physical needs. Jupiter in the 12th house aspecting the 6th house is protective against disease, offering a meaningful shield against illness breaking through. The full moon in your 6th house on July 29th may highlight a health matter that needs attention in the final days of July. Pay attention to fatigue, digestive issues, or anything that has been quietly building. Saturn in the 8th house can create chronic or deep-seated health concerns, particularly affecting joints or reproductive health. Mars in the 10th, while fantastic for career energy, also generates heat and stress in the body. Cooling practices, adequate water, and stress management are the health priorities for Leo in July. Overall, July 2026 is defined by Mars in the 10th house for Leo. Professional productivity and career action are the month's dominant narrative. Spiritually, Ketu in the 1st house and Jupiter in the 12th create an unusually introspective personal climate, alongside the outward career energy. Finances require patience around shared resources. Relationships carry a Rahu-driven intensity and an element of surprise. Health needs careful monitoring around the full moon at month end. Leo's best strategy this month is to channel the career momentum of Mars fully while giving genuine space to the inward transformation that Ketu and Jupiter are quietly demanding. For Virgo, July 2026 places significant emphasis on career, gains, and professional transformation. Multiple planets touch your 10th and 11th houses across the month, making career and income the dominant storyline. Mercury, your 1st and 10th lord, begins the month retrograde in the 11th house, moves back into the 10th house on July 7th, and goes direct on July 24th in the 10th. The entire Mercury cycle this month is focused on your career and public image, asking you to review and refine rather than rush new starts. Jupiter is exalted in your 11th house throughout the month, one of the most powerful positions for financial gains, social networks, and wish fulfillment. Saturn in your 7th house brings a measured quality to partnerships. The full moon on July 29th in your 5th house is a personal highlight for creativity, children, and joy. Mercury, your 10th lord, is the central career planet this month. Its retrograde journey through the 11th house and then back into the 10th house from July 7th until going direct on July 24th urges you to revisit career decisions, review past professional choices, and refine your work rather than launching new ventures. This retrograde window is excellent for completing ongoing projects, strengthening existing professional relationships, and course-correcting any career direction that feels off track. After July 24th, when Mercury goes direct in the 10th house, forward movement resumes with greater clarity and confidence. The Sun is in your 10th house from July 1st to 16th, adding professional visibility, authority, and confidence. Make the most of this window for important meetings and visible work before Mercury's retrograde review fully takes over. Rahu in your 6th house in Aquarius drives career through competition, service, and solving others' problems. Unconventional career moves and problem-solving roles are especially well supported in July. Saturn in the 7th house's aspect on the 9th suggests that professional travel or overseas collaboration may be delayed but not cancelled. Jupiter exalted in your 11th house is the most powerful financial indicator available to Virgo this month. The 11th house is the house of gains, income from work, social network profits, and wish fulfillment, and Jupiter in exaltation here is about as strong as it gets. If there is any month in 2026 where income growth and financial progress deserve your full attention, July is it. Use Jupiter's 11th house energy by expanding your professional network, pursuing long-term investment decisions with trusted guidance, and taking advantage of opportunities that come through contacts and referrals. Venus in the 11th house at the start of July adds extra financial magnetism through charm and relationships. After July 4th, when Venus enters the 12th house to join Ketu, foreign-related or isolated financial matters may surface, but these are unlikely to dominate over Jupiter's strength. Saturn rules your 5th house, and its placement in the 7th house this month creates an indirect but real restraint on speculative activity. With Mercury retrograde reinforcing the same caution through most of July, high-risk financial bets are best avoided entirely. Saturn in your 7th house is the dominant relationship influence for Virgo in July. While Saturn in the 7th is associated with serious, mature, and sometimes delayed partnership energy, it also rewards patient and committed relationships with genuine stability over time. If you are married or in a long-term relationship, July may feel like a period of steady, unglamorous partnership work, real conversations about responsibilities, future planning, and shared commitments. The full moon in your 5th house on July 29th brings a burst of romantic energy and joy in the final days of July. This is the most romantically alive moment of the month. Jupiter's aspect on your 7th house from the 11th offers optimism and expansion within partnerships despite Saturn's discipline. Single Virgo individuals may find romantic prospects arrive through workplace or competitive professional settings given Rahu's position in the 6th house. Jupiter exalted in your 11th house keeps your social and friendship circle highly active and positive this month. Friends in influential positions are supportive, new meaningful connections arrive through your network, and long-term wishes connected to friendships may be fulfilled in July. Jupiter's aspect on your 5th house is excellent for children's matters, academic performance, creative growth, or a positive development connected to a child in your life may emerge around the full moon on July 29th. The 4th house receives Saturn's aspect from the 7th. Home maintenance, domestic responsibilities, or a parent's concern may demand attention without a fast resolution. The Sun in your 10th house until July 16th keeps you professionally focused, which may temporarily reduce family time. After July 16th, the Sun joins Jupiter in your 11th, energizing social engagement and making the second half of July more socially fulfilling. Saturn in your 7th house aspects your 1st house throughout July. Your personal health and body constitution receive Saturn's disciplining gaze. This often manifests as a need for structured health habits, joint-related care, or a tendency towards slow recovery if you fall ill. The emphasis on your 10th house with the Sun and retrograde Mercury in the first half of the month suggests mental overload and work stress as the primary health risks. Mental health, nervous system fatigue, and overanalysis are specific Virgo concerns this July. Rahu in the 6th house adds an element of unpredictable health challenges. Sudden minor illnesses or unusual symptoms are possible. Jupiter in the 11th aspecting the 5th house supports overall vitality and the body's natural resistance. The full moon in the 5th house on July 29th can create emotional intensity. Use it constructively through creative or expressive outlets rather than letting it build into anxiety. Overall, July 2026 is a financially and professionally transformative month for Virgo. Jupiter exalted in the 11th house delivers the year's strongest gains opportunity, while Mercury retrograde through the career houses demands a thoughtful review of your professional direction. Relationships carry Saturn's discipline, with a romantic uplift arriving in the final days with the full moon in the 5th. Health needs stress management and consistent routines. The social and friendship sector is genuinely alive and supportive. Virgo's best approach this month is to trust the process of review, invest in professional refinement, and position yourself to capture Jupiter's gains signal fully when the path is clear. For Libra, July 2026 puts in one of the most significant career months of the year. Jupiter is exalted in your 10th house of career in Cancer for the entire month, and this single transit elevates your professional standing, public recognition, and authority significantly. Venus, your sign lord, begins the month in the 10th house alongside Jupiter and retrograde Mercury, a Sarasvati Yoga configuration in your very own career house. The Sun joins Jupiter in the 10th house from July 16th, adding further brilliance to your professional life in the second half of the month. Mars in your 8th house throughout the month introduces deep financial transformation and the need for care in joint financial matters. Saturn in your 6th house creates a sustained work ethic that ultimately supports your career growth throughout July. The full moon on July 29th in your 4th house brings home and domestic matters to a decisive point. Jupiter exalted in your 10th house is the career headline of 2026 for Libra, and July is when this transit is richest with opportunity. The 10th house represents your public status, authority, and professional reputation. With Jupiter at its strongest in Cancer here, everything career-related gets a natural lift. The Sarasvati Yoga in the 10th at the start of the month, Jupiter, Venus, and retrograde Mercury together, is exceptional for any career involving communication, teaching, writing, counseling, finance, or the arts. After Venus leaves on July 4th, Jupiter continues to dominate the career house. Between July 7th and 16th, Mercury retrograde shifts back into the 9th house with the Sun. This period is better for strategy, review, and long-term career planning rather than launches. After July 16th, the Sun moves into your 10th house to join Jupiter in what is the month's clearest career peak. Saturn in the 6th house throughout July adds competitive discipline. You are working harder than those around you, and your results genuinely reflect that effort. Mars in your 8th house for the entire month is the most significant financial caution of July for Libra. The 8th house governs joint finances, partners' money, inheritance, loans, and shared assets. Mars here creates intensity, urgency, and potential conflict around these areas. Avoid aggressive financial confrontations with partners or financial institutions in July, and ensure all significant financial agreements are documented clearly. Jupiter in the 10th house aspecting your 4th house is helpful for property-related income and home asset appreciation. Rahu in your 5th house in Aquarius introduces a speculative financial element. You may feel drawn to high-risk investments or creative financial opportunities, but the Mars influence in the 8th recommends strong caution before committing. The new moon on July 14th in your 9th house is a favorable point for international financial ventures or long-distance income sources. Saturn in the 6th advises that patient, structured approaches to income outperform risky ones in July. The full moon on July 29th in your 4th house is the month's defining relationship moment for Libra. Home, domestic partnerships, and the emotional security of your primary relationship are brought to a peak around this date. Meaningful conversations about your shared life, living arrangements, or family matters reach a point of clarity. Venus, your sign lord, is in your 10th house until July 4th, giving your personal magnetism a highly public, career-connected expression. You are particularly attractive and persuasive in professional settings during this brief window. From July 4th, Venus enters your 11th house to join Ketu. The Venus-Ketu energy here can make you feel emotionally withdrawn from social connections while simultaneously attracting unusual or spiritually oriented individuals. Mars in the 8th house adds intensity and depth to intimate partnerships. This is a month of deep, transformative connection rather than light romantic energy. Committed relationships can grow significantly in July if both partners lean into honest, vulnerable communication. The 4th house, your home and family foundation, receives the full moon's powerful light on July 29th in Capricorn. Whatever has been building around domestic matters culminates here. Jupiter's aspect from the 10th onto the 4th house is consistently supportive of home harmony and a parent's well-being throughout July. Property matters, home improvements, or a domestic investment connected to your family are well supported by this combination. Rahu in your 5th house keeps creative and children-related family matters in an active, sometimes unpredictable state. Saturn in the 6th house influences your relationship with the daily structure of family life and household responsibilities. Discipline at home feels more natural this month. Venus joining Ketu in the 11th house from July 4th may create some distance with certain friends or social circles, but this conjunction can also attract spiritually meaningful friendships that prove more lasting than casual ones. Saturn in your 6th house is generally a positive health indicator. The 6th house governs disease, and Saturn here is disciplined enough to keep health concerns managed through structured lifestyle choices. Regular exercise, clean diet, and consistent routines yield noticeable health benefits in July. Mars in the 8th house introduces a risk of sudden physical events, accidents, minor injuries, or sudden inflammation are possible, so take physical caution especially in high-energy situations. Jupiter in the 10th aspecting the 4th house supports your mental and emotional health through domestic peace and a stable home base. Rahu in the 5th house can occasionally trigger stomach or digestive issues. Monitor your diet especially around the new moon on July 14th. The full moon in the 4th house on July 29th may affect sleep quality and emotional well-being toward month end. Give yourself adequate rest in that final stretch. Overall, July 2026 is a landmark career month for Libra. Jupiter exalted in the 10th house, reinforced by Venus, Mercury, and then the Sun over the course of the month, creates a professional opportunity window that should be used with full intentionality. Financial caution is essential around Mars in the 8th. Relationships require depth and honesty, with the full moon in the 4th delivering a domestic clarity moment. Health is well managed with structure and care. This is a month where Libra's natural charm, knowledge, and professional ability find their strongest stage of the year. Make it count. For Scorpio, July 2026 brings a month of exceptional wisdom, fortune, and personal strength. Jupiter is exalted in your 9th house of Dharma, higher learning, and long-distance fortune, casting its direct aspect onto your 1st house throughout the month, which means you personally receive Jupiter's fullest blessings into your own physical presence and vitality. The 9th house is the most auspicious Vedic house, and with Jupiter at its most powerful in Cancer here, spiritual growth, academic achievement, travel, and good fortune all flow in your direction. Mars, your sign lord, is in your 7th house for the entire month, making partnerships, both personal and professional, highly energized and action-oriented. Ketu in your 10th house introduces a spiritual or unconventional quality to your career direction, with Venus joining Ketu there from July 4th. The full moon on July 29th in your 3rd house brings communication and courage-related matters to a head. Ketu in your 10th house and Venus joining it from July 4th create an unusual career energy for Scorpio this month. Ketu in the 10th often detaches people from conventional career ambitions, drawing them toward more meaningful, spiritual, or unconventional professional paths. For some Scorpio individuals, this month may mark a turning point in career direction, questioning whether your current work is truly fulfilling rather than merely functional. Venus in the 10th from July 4th adds charm and creativity to your professional image, and the Venus-Ketu combination can attract unusual career opportunities in creative, occult, healing, or research-oriented fields. The Sun in your 8th house until July 16th may slow visible career progress. This is a time for deep research, strategic planning, and working with confidential professional matters. After July 16th, the Sun enters your 9th house to join Jupiter, an excellent period for work connected to teaching, publishing, overseas connections, or advisory roles. Jupiter's aspect on your 1st house throughout the month ensures that personal confidence and charisma support whatever professional direction you choose. Jupiter exalted in your 9th house aspecting your 5th house is a wonderful financial signal for well-researched, thoughtful investments. The 9th house Jupiter brings income through fortune, travel, and long-distance sources, while its aspect on the 5th supports financial growth through knowledge and creative ventures. Mars in your 7th house means your partner's income or business partnership finances are in an active and aggressive state. Be clear about shared financial expectations to prevent conflict. Saturn in your 5th house throughout the month is a repeated caution against speculative investments. Saturn aspects the 11th house from the 5th, which may delay gains from social networks or long-term financial goals. Rahu in your 4th house can bring a sudden property-related financial event. An unexpected offer or unusual property deal is possible in July. The full moon in the 3rd house on July 29th may trigger a financial communication with a sibling or close contact worth following up on. Mars in your 7th house is the defining relationship influence for Scorpio in July. As your sign lord in the house of marriage, Mars brings a high-energy, passionate, and at times confrontational dynamic to partnerships. Relationships are alive and active this month. Couples may find themselves drawn into intense discussions that ultimately deepen their bond, while some face friction that requires direct and honest resolution. The key is channeling Mars's energy constructively rather than letting it fuel prolonged arguments. Jupiter's aspect on your 1st house makes you magnetically confident and genuinely attractive to others in July. The full moon in the 3rd house on July 29th calls for courageous communication in relationships. Say what has been unsaid, but do so thoughtfully and with care. Venus joining Ketu in the 10th from July 4th may create a brief period where career and relationship demands compete for your attention. Deliberate balance is necessary. Jupiter exalted in the 9th house is deeply positive for your father's well-being and your relationship with a father figure. Blessings, wisdom, or a meaningful interaction with an elder in the family are possible this month. Travel with family or a family event connected to a celebration or academic occasion is supported. Rahu in your 4th house keeps the home environment in a state of transformation or unpredictability. Renovation projects, unexpected guests, or a change in living arrangements could surface. The Sun in your 8th house through July 16th, with Mercury joining from July 7th, keeps family financial discussions emotionally sensitive and somewhat guarded. Approach these with patience rather than urgency. After the Sun moves into the 9th on July 16th to join Jupiter, family harmony and the connection with elders grows warmer and more meaningful. The full moon in the 3rd house at month end may bring a sibling-related matter to an important resolution. Jupiter in your 9th house casting its aspect on your 1st house is one of the best health protectors this month. Vitality is strong, recovery is fast, and your overall physical constitution benefits directly from Jupiter's benevolent gaze. Mars in the 7th house, as your sign lord placed away from the 1st house, means you are physically active but may also be prone to heat, inflammation, or stress-driven physical issues through interpersonal conflicts. Saturn in the 5th house with its aspect on the 11th introduces a possibility of abdominal, digestive, or lower back issues developing slowly. Preventive attention is worthwhile. Rahu in the 4th house can occasionally affect chest, heart, or lung health. The new moon on July 14th in the 8th house can heighten sensitivity to toxins or allergens, and is a good time for a health checkup or a gentle detox routine. Overall, July 2026 is one of Scorpio's strongest months of the year for fortune, wisdom, and personal power. Jupiter exalted in the 9th house, directly aspecting your 1st house, fills this month with a natural grace that supports almost every area of life. Mars in the 7th keeps relationships intense and alive. Career is undergoing a meaningful reorientation through Ketu. Finances are well supported for thoughtful, informed decisions. Health is strong under Jupiter's gaze. The invitation of July for Scorpio is to use this fortuitous planetary alignment not just for personal gain, but for genuine growth and wisdom, purpose, and meaningful connection with the people who matter most. For Sagittarius, July 2026 is a month of deep inner work, karmic review, and quiet professional assessment. Jupiter, your sign lord, is exalted in your 8th house of transformation, hidden matters, and karmic debt, a complex but powerful placement that supports occult study, research, psychology, healing, and an honest confrontation with what needs to change in your life. Saturn in your 4th house throughout the month casts its aspect directly on your 1st house, a disciplining influence on personal health, identity, and home matters that demand structure and responsibility. Mars in your 6th house for the entire month is a strong position for overcoming obstacles, defeating competition, maintaining health discipline, and pushing through daily challenges with consistent effectiveness. The full moon on July 29th in your 2nd house brings financial matters to a decisive head. Saturn in your 4th house aspects your 10th house directly throughout July, creating a disciplined, responsible, and somewhat pressured career environment. Professional growth is available, but only through structured, persistent effort. There are no easy shortcuts in your career this month. The 10th house aspect from Saturn also suggests work connected to administration, property, education, or home-based professional activities is particularly well structured. Mercury Retrograde in your 8th house at the start of July, then slipping back into the 7th house on July 7th, suggests that business partnerships and career negotiations may face confusion or delay during the retrograde phase. After July 24th, when Mercury turns direct in the 7th house, partnership-linked career decisions become clearer and more actionable. The Sun in your 7th house until July 16th is favorable for client-facing work and business partnerships. Rahu in your 3rd house is excellent for bold communication, digital marketing, and unconventional skill-driven professional work. Use this energy actively in the first half of July. The full moon on July 29th in your 2nd house is the financial peak of July for Sagittarius. Income, savings, and family financial matters come to a significant moment of realization or decision around this date. Jupiter exalted in your 8th house is an unusual but powerful placement for hidden wealth, inheritance, insurance settlements, joint finances, and investment returns can unexpectedly yield better outcomes than anticipated under this Jupiter influence. Jupiter's aspect on your 2nd house directly from the 8th is a strong signal for financial gain through non-obvious channels. Saturn, as your 2nd lord, occupies the 4th house and aspects your 10th house from there. This direct link between your house of income and your career house reinforces the message that steady, consistent professional effort is the most reliable financial path in July. Fortune rewards patience over shortcuts. Mars in the 6th house keeps daily income through work and service consistent and strong. Avoid impulsive financial decisions around the Sun-Mercury retrograde phase between July 7th and 16th. The Sun in your 7th house until July 16th illuminates partnerships and brings mutual recognition and respect to your relationships. This is one of the better windows of July for romantic visibility and clear communication with a partner. Mercury retrograde in the 7th house from July 7th to 16th alongside the Sun creates a period of re-examination in relationships. Old conversations resurface, unresolved issues demand attention, and misunderstandings need patient correction. After Mercury goes direct on July 24th, relationships feel more settled and forward-moving. Venus moves into your 9th house on July 4th to join Ketu. This conjunction in the house of Dharma and higher ideals creates a spiritually oriented view of love that feels meaningful but can sometimes feel impractical. For some Sagittarius individuals, a partner with a philosophical or spiritual bent becomes particularly appealing in July. The new moon on July 14th in your 7th house marks a fresh beginning in a key partnership, worth setting clear intentions around. Saturn in your 4th house is the dominant family influence in July. Home responsibilities, a parent's health or well-being, and domestic maintenance issues demand your consistent attention this month. Saturn here is not malevolent. It rewards structure, responsibility, and care, but it does prevent domestic life from being light or casual. If there is a property matter or a major home decision pending, Saturn in the 4th asks for patience and proper process rather than rushed action. Jupiter in your 8th house aspecting the 4th house alongside Saturn creates a blend of deep transformation and hidden support in domestic matters. Family inheritances or property connected to elders may be in focus. Rahu in your 3rd house keeps communication with siblings and close friends active and unconventional. Expect interesting, sometimes boundary-pushing conversations with people in your close circle throughout July. Mars in your 6th house throughout July is one of the better health placements available. The 6th house rules disease and obstacles, and Mars here actively battles them. Your immune response and physical resilience are stronger than usual, and you are capable of maintaining disciplined health habits this month. Saturn's aspect on your 1st house from the 4th requires physical discipline. Chronic conditions or fatigue may arise if you neglect basic health maintenance, especially after Saturn turns retrograde on July 27th. Jupiter exalted in the 8th house aspecting the 12th house suggests that sleep and rest are deeply restorative this month. Prioritize adequate rest as a non-negotiable. Mercury retrograde in the 8th at the start of the month can cause digestive sensitivity or nervous system fatigue. Ketu in your 9th house can occasionally affect the hips and thighs. Stretch regularly and avoid prolonged sitting. Overall, July 2026 is a month of depth, transformation, and karmic reckoning for Sagittarius. Jupiter in the 8th house asks you to look honestly at what needs changing in your financial, professional, and personal life. Mars in the 6th house gives you the physical strength and competitive edge to tackle daily challenges with confidence. Saturn in the 4th tests your patience and sense of home. Relationships move through a meaningful retrograde review and emerge clearer by month end. Financially, the full moon at month end brings an important income moment. July rewards those Sagittarius individuals who are willing to do deep inner work alongside their outer responsibilities. For Capricorn, July 2026 is a month of strong partnership energy and personal culmination. Jupiter is exalted in your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, and business alliances in Cancer, the single most supportive transit available for your married and partnership life this month. Saturn, your 1st and 2nd lord, is in your 3rd house throughout July, disciplining your communication and courage while aspecting the 5th, 9th, and 12th houses. The full moon on July 29th falls directly in your 1st house in Capricorn, a deeply personal, introspective moment of culmination that marks an important milestone in your identity and life direction. Rahu in your 2nd house brings financial ambition and unconventional income strategies to the forefront. Mars in your 5th house throughout July drives creative energy, children's matters, and speculative instincts throughout the month. Saturn in your 3rd house throughout July aspects your 9th house of fortune and higher learning, creating a disciplined approach to professional communication and knowledge application. This is an excellent placement for structured writing, technical reporting, and skill-based work. Saturn's discipline in the 3rd house makes you exceptionally productive in any career requiring precise, careful communication. Jupiter in your 7th house aspecting your 1st house gives you personal authority and confidence that enhances professional presence considerably. Business partnerships and joint ventures are especially well supported. A collaboration formed or deepened in July is likely to yield strong results. Mercury, your 6th and 9th lord, begins retrograde in your 7th house, then moves back into the 6th from July 7th. Review ongoing business contracts and work-related partnerships carefully during this phase. After July 24th, when Mercury turns direct, partnership-related career decisions can move forward with confidence. Saturn turns retrograde on July 27th, which may slow any official career approvals or formal processes in the final days of July. The Sun remains in your 6th house until July 16th, keeping work, service, health routines, and daily responsibilities in focus. This is a practical period for handling duties, resolving conflicts, and improving efficiency. After July 16th, when the Sun enters Cancer and joins Jupiter in your 7th house, relationships, business alliances, and partnership decisions become much more supportive. Rahu in your 2nd house throughout July is a complex financial indicator. It amplifies the drive for income and introduces unconventional or technology-related income streams, but it can also bring financial unpredictability or inflated expectations around money. Avoid exaggerating financial projections or making impulsive purchases based on expected future income. Jupiter in the 7th house aspecting your 11th house from below is a meaningful gains signal. Income through partnerships, joint ventures, and collaboration is strongly supported. Mars in your 5th house introduces speculative energy. You may be tempted by high-risk financial moves or creative investment ideas. Saturn's aspect on the 5th from the 3rd reinforces caution against speculation. The full moon in your 1st house on July 29th brings a personal financial reckoning. Clarity about your financial position and personal worth arrives at month end in a way that demands honest evaluation. Jupiter exalted in your 7th house is one of the clearest positive relationship transits of the year for Capricorn. Marital harmony, mutual understanding, and the possibility of important partnership decisions are all elevated this month. For unmarried Capricorn individuals, this is one of the best windows of 2026 for meeting a meaningful life partner. Jupiter's exaltation in the 7th rules the relationship house with maximum benevolence. Venus in your 7th house at the start of the month adds beauty, charm, and romantic warmth to partnerships before moving into the 8th on July 4th to join Ketu. When Venus joins Ketu in the 8th, intimate relationships take on a more karmic, transformative, and sometimes isolating quality. This is a period for honest confrontation of unresolved relationship karma rather than surface-level romantic enjoyment. The full moon in your 1st house on July 29th brings a personal realization about what you truly want from partnership that is worth sitting with. Jupiter exalted in the 7th house casting its aspect back onto your 1st house adds personal warmth and generous energy to all family interactions in July. The full moon in your 1st house on July 29th is a personally defining moment that family members and close friends will notice and respond to. Mars in your 5th house is active and energized for children's matters, a child's achievement, a creative project, or a family celebration connected to children is possible this month. Saturn in the 3rd house adds structure and seriousness to sibling relationships. Meaningful conversations with a brother or sister about practical life matters are supported, even if they require some emotional effort to initiate. The new moon on July 14th in your 6th house is useful for setting fresh health and daily routine intentions, which can positively affect your energy levels and family availability through the rest of the month. The full moon in your first house on July 29th has a direct bearing on physical health. Emotional intensity around this date can affect the body, particularly the head, spine, and overall vitality. Jupiter in the 7th house aspecting your first house is a strong protective health influence, reinforcing immunity and overall physical resilience through the month. Mars in your 5th house throughout July brings heat and digestive intensity. Stomach issues, acidity, or overindulgence in spicy or rich food are specific risks to monitor. Saturn in the 3rd house can cause shoulder tension, arm fatigue, or breathing-related concerns if stress is not managed through regular movement and release. Ketu in the 8th house throughout July is a subtle health variable. Pay attention to recurring or unusual symptoms, and do not dismiss them without a proper checkup. Overall, July 2026 delivers a powerful partnership and personal culmination story for Capricorn. Jupiter exalted in the 7th house is the month's dominant gift. Relationships, business alliances, and personal confidence all benefit. Financial ambition runs high through Rahu in the 2nd, but speculation requires restraint. Mars in the 5th brings creative and children-related joy. The full moon in your first house is a personal milestone worth acknowledging and acting on. This is a month where Capricorn's natural discipline combines with Jupiter's exalted partnership blessings to create genuinely meaningful outcomes in love, career, and self-understanding. For Aquarius, July 2026 is a month of personal identity transformation and sustained practical effort. Rahu is transiting your first house in Aquarius, its own sign, one of the strongest possible placements for personal ambition, identity reinvention, and magnetic public presence. Alongside this, Jupiter is exalted in your 6th house of health, service, and daily work, excellent for overcoming obstacles, defeating competition, and building physical well-being actively. Saturn, your 1st and 12th lord, is in your 2nd house throughout July, with its aspect falling on your 4th, 8th, and 11th houses, adding discipline and seriousness to financial and domestic matters. Mars in your 4th house throughout the month brings active energy to home and property matters. The full moon on July 29th in your 12th house calls for rest, spiritual reflection, and careful management of hidden expenses. Mars in your 4th house throughout July is a dynamic placement for work done through property, from home, or in the real estate sector. As your 3rd and 10th lord, Mars's presence in the 4th creates a strong link between your domestic environment and career achievements. Home-based work or property-linked careers are in an especially active phase this month. Rahu in your 1st house enhances your professional magnetism and ambition. You naturally attract attention, opportunities, and influential contacts throughout July. Jupiter in the 6th house aspecting the 10th house from below is a meaningful career boost. Obstacles at work are overcome with surprising efficiency, and your competitive edge in the workplace is strong and consistent. The Sun in your 5th house until July 16th is helpful for creative, educational, or advisory professional work. After July 16th, the Sun joins Jupiter in your 6th house, adding authority and visibility to daily service work and problem-solving roles. Saturn turns retrograde in the 2nd house on July 27th, potentially delaying financial settlements or income payments, but this does not significantly disrupt overall career momentum. Saturn, your sign lord, in your 2nd house throughout July creates a measured financial environment where every expense and income source comes under disciplined scrutiny. This is not a month for reckless spending, and existing financial commitments should be honored promptly and without delay. Saturn's aspect on your 8th house introduces some tension around joint finances, insurance, or inherited assets. Review and organize these carefully. Jupiter exalted in the 6th house aspecting the 2nd house where Saturn sits is actually beneficial. It softens Saturn's financial restriction and creates opportunities for income through daily service, health-related work, and problem-solving. Rahu in the 1st house drives financial ambition powerfully, and unconventional income through personal brand, technology, or innovation is well supported. The full moon in the 12th house on July 29th signals rising expenses around foreign matters, medical expenses, or spiritual pursuits. Budget accordingly in the final week. Ketu in your 7th house throughout July is the defining relationship influence for Aquarius. Venus joins Ketu in the 7th house from July 4th. This Venus-Ketu conjunction in the house of marriage creates a spiritually oriented, sometimes emotionally distant energy in partnerships. Some Aquarius individuals may feel that their partner is withdrawing, preoccupied with their own inner journey, or simply less emotionally present than usual. The Venus-Ketu energy in the 7th can also attract partners who are unconventional, spiritually inclined, or carry an element of past life familiarity that feels both meaningful and complex. For married Aquarius individuals, this is a period to invest in inner partnership work rather than seeking outward romantic gestures. Rahu in your first house makes you personally magnetic and attractive, which can paradoxically create situations where others are drawn to you even as your primary relationship feels quiet. The new moon on July 14th in the 5th house is good for creative romantic expressions and reconnecting with joy in the relationship. Mars in your 4th house throughout July is active and sometimes aggressive in the home environment. Domestic projects, renovation work, or property purchases are well supported by Mars's energy here, but interpersonal tensions at home can also flare up if communication is not handled carefully and proactively. Saturn in the 2nd house aspecting the 4th adds seriousness to domestic financial matters. Family financial planning, home-related investments, and household budget discussions are better handled with patience and structure rather than rushed decisions. Jupiter exalted in the 6th house is excellent for the health and service matters of family members. The Sun in the 5th house until July 16th brings warmth and joy to children's matters and social interactions within the family circle. Ketu in the May 7th creates some emotional distance with your primary partner, but does not significantly impact broader family relationships. Friends connected to your professional network remain actively supportive throughout the month. Jupiter exalted in your 6th house is the most powerful health-supporting transit available. It directly governs disease and your body's fight against illness. Immunity is strong, recovery is fast, and routine health management yields excellent results this month. Rahu in your 1st house adds physical vitality and an urge toward physical transformation or reinvention. This is a great month for starting a new fitness regimen, changing your diet, or making a significant physical lifestyle change. Saturn in the 2nd house can sometimes affect throat health, diet quality, or speech-related issues under stress. Be mindful of what you consume and how you communicate. Mars in the 4th house can create digestive issues, chest tension, or excess heat. Adequate water intake and cooling practices are genuinely helpful. The full moon in the 12th house on July 29th calls for adequate rest and sleep at the end of the month. Do not push through exhaustion in the final days. Overall, July 2026 gives Aquarius a month of personal reinvention driven by Rahu in the 1st house, sustained health and competitive strength from Jupiter in the 6th, and disciplined financial management under Saturn in the 2nd. Career is energized by Mars in the 4th and Jupiter's aspect on the 10th. Relationships are in a spiritually quiet but internally meaningful phase through Venus-Ketu in the 7th. Home life is active and at times intense. The full moon in the 12th asks for closure and genuine rest at month end. Aquarius thrives in July by channeling personal ambition constructively while maintaining genuine care for health and the relationships that truly matter. For Pisces, July 2026 is a month of personal testing combined with strong spiritual and intellectual expansion. Saturn, your 11th and 12th lord, is transiting your own 1st house throughout the month, a significant, grounding, and sometimes heavy influence on personal identity, health, and overall vitality. Jupiter, your sign lord, is exalted in your 5th house of intelligence, creativity, and children in Cancer, one of the most beneficial placements Jupiter can offer Pisces, enriching your mind, creativity, and personal wisdom significantly. These two planetary forces, Saturn restricting the self while Jupiter elevates the intellect, define the month's fundamental tension and its deepest opportunity. Mars in your 3rd house brings courage and active communication to your daily interactions. The full moon on July 29th in your 11th house culminates income, friendships, and social aspirations in a meaningful way. Career matters require patience and structured effort. Saturn in the 1st house aspects your 10th house, increasing professional responsibilities and demanding consistent performance. While progress may feel slow, this transit helps build lasting credibility and respect. Jupiter in the 5th house aspects the 11th house of gains, supporting career growth through knowledge, creativity, teaching, consulting, content creation, or intellectual work. Mars in the 3rd house favors communication-based professions, sales, marketing, writing, media, and digital work. Mercury begins July retrograde in the 5th house before returning to the 4th house on July 7th, encouraging review of projects connected to home, property, or family matters. After Mercury turns direct on July 24th, decision-making improves and delayed plans begin moving forward. Saturn's retrograde motion from July 27th may bring temporary doubts about career direction, but this period is better used for reflection and reassessment rather than major changes. Jupiter exalted in your 5th house aspecting the 11th house of gains is the month's strongest financial indicator for Pisces. Income through creative work, carefully considered investments, and knowledge-based ventures is well supported. Saturn in your 1st house aspecting the 3rd house where Mars is placed creates some financial pressure and communication-linked expenses or short-distance travel costs. Rahu in your 12th house in Aquarius introduces foreign-connected expenditure or spiritual spending. There may be expenses connected to foreign travel, digital platforms, or religious activities that need monitoring. The full moon on July 29th in your 11th house is the financial climax of the month for Pisces. Income streams, gains from social networks, or a financial return on earlier investment materializes around this date. Ketu in the 6th house, particularly as Venus joins it from July 4th, can reduce expenses connected to health or competition in a genuinely useful way. Saturn in your 1st house aspects your 7th house directly, a significant and sobering influence on partnerships. Relationships in July require genuine patience, maturity, and emotional responsibility. Saturn's gaze on the 7th does not prevent deep and meaningful partnership. In fact, it rewards those who show up with consistency and commitment, but it does strip away anything superficial or built on illusion. Jupiter in your 5th house aspecting your 9th house enhances philosophical compatibility in relationships and supports connections that share your spiritual or intellectual values. The full moon on July 29th in the 11th house can bring a meaningful social meeting or the fulfillment of a romantic wish that has been quietly developing through the month. Venus in your 5th house until July 4th, alongside Jupiter and Mercury, is a beautiful and brief start to the month for romance and creative expression in love. Single Pisces may find a deeply meaningful connection in the very first week of July during this powerful Venus-Jupiter configuration. Children, education, and creativity are among the strongest areas of life this month. Jupiter, exalted in the 5th house, supports academic success, creative achievement, artistic expression, teaching, learning, and children's development. Parents may receive encouraging news regarding a child's progress or accomplishments. Those hoping for pregnancy or positive developments involving children may find this transit supportive. The Sun remains in your 4th house until July 16th, bringing attention to home, family, and property matters. Decisions regarding real estate, relocation, or domestic improvements can be productive during this period. After July 16th, the Sun enters the 5th house and joins Jupiter, creating a powerful combination for education, creative projects, and personal confidence. Mars in the 3rd house can make communication with siblings more direct and occasionally confrontational, but issues are likely to be resolved rather than prolonged. The full moon in the 11th house also brings fulfillment through friendships, communities, and social groups. Saturn transiting your 1st house for the entire month is the most pressing health concern for Pisces in July. The 1st house represents the physical body and overall vitality. Saturn here can suppress natural energy levels, create chronic fatigue, and make recovery from illness slower than usual. After July 27th, when Saturn turns retrograde, this health pressure may intensify temporarily. Jupiter in the 5th house aspecting the 1st house from there is a protective compensating influence. Jupiter's aspect on the 1st house helps sustain vitality despite Saturn's heaviness in the same house. Mars in the 3rd house can cause tension in the arms, shoulders, or neck, particularly relevant if you work at a desk or do repetitive physical movements. Ketu in the 6th house throughout July is actually helpful for health. Ketu here tends to dissolve the power of disease and acts as a natural protector against illness taking hold. Routine health maintenance, adequate sleep, and active stress reduction are the foundations of health management this month. Overall, July 2026 is a month of disciplined personal growth and expanded intellectual horizons for Pisces. Saturn in the 1st house demands that you meet life's responsibilities with seriousness and strength, while Jupiter exalted in the 5th rewards your creative and intellectual investments with genuine growth and wisdom. The full moon in the 11th house at month end delivers a financial and social payoff for consistent efforts throughout July. Relationships require mature, committed engagement. Health must be actively managed with daily attention to rest and recovery. Children and creative pursuits are the month's brightest sources of joy. Pisces who bring both Saturn's discipline and Jupiter's wisdom to July will find the month genuinely transformative. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the sidereal zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions. The real impact depends on your dasha cycles and your individual birth chart. For a personalized analysis or consultation, feel free to reach out. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, you can also hype this video to boost it within the community. Your support helps this knowledge reach more people who may benefit. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.